Due to advances in equipment and solutions, the professional car wash industry is doing a better job than ever before in cleaning cars. And due to the increasing professionalism of car wash operators, the industry is also safer than ever. By some counts, there are more than 250,000 employees engaged in the business of professionally washing most of the more than 240 million cars that are on the road in the U.S. Washing these hundreds of millions of cars in a manner that is safe for employees and customers is a top-of-mind concern for every successful car wash operator. Proper procedures, training, and practices will combine to create a safe environment. But where should you start, and what should you do? Stay tuned. The International Carwash Association answers these questions and more as we take you to the cleaning edge.
The first thing we like to do is train them on safety for themselves. The customers are inside their car. I feel that they're pretty safe, but we're standing and we're exposed to cars driving in. There's equipment going. So the first thing I like to do is make sure that that employee is trained in how to shut the wash off, what to look for as a customer pulls in onto the conveyor, to not get themselves in front of the car. I really want the employee safe.
Okay, Bruce, so over at the entrance to the car wash, I want to talk a little bit about some of the safety concerns that car washes, particularly conveyor car washes, have at the entrance end. And in the old days in full serves is, of course, you got guys driving customers' vehicles onto the conveyor.
And there's a lot of places that still do that because it has its advantages. We've gone away from it, but before, when we were training for that, there are some hazards that everyone should look for when they're driving cars on. And of course, one of those is to make sure that the engine's turned off when the customer, we had a number of problems, but we got rid of those problems by turning the engine off before you get into the car and out of the car. The customer had to turn the car off. So that was one of the things we did. It had to be off. You can't move a car with the door open or else you might lose a foot. You have to move your car at a walk, and we train all that in our initial training to get a Carnet's driver's license. Even if you have a Georgia's driver's license, you have to have a Carnet's driver's license.
What do you mean by a Carnet's driver's license? You had a gentleman, I think Jim Grant was his name around here.
Yeah.
Is he here?
Jim, yeah.
Jim, there he is.
Come on over.
Hey, Jim. All right.
How are you?
Good to see you.
Yeah, Bruce he can tell you more about it than me.
Bruce is talking about a Carnet's driver's license, and I don't know what that is. Can you share with us what that is?
Well, actually, it all starts out with the training process. With new employees, we put them through a training program, and one of the very first chapters we cover are the driving requirements, because we want to make sure that our employees understand safe driving practices for their safety, the customer safety, as well as protection of the vehicles of the customers. And things that we are concerned about is speed of driving, making sure the door is closed so we don't avoid locking the keys in the car, making sure that we don't stand in front of the vehicles as we advance them. Just things like that are very, very critical. It's important that our employees understand this because they're given great privilege to be able to drive customers' vehicles. And part of the training process is they actually get certified as a driver, that they review everything they cover in training and certify that they understand and they're going to abide by those rules, just like you would any municipality when you agree to do something of that nature.
So now this facility that's not running as a full serve exclusively, it's running as, you call it, a megaplex. Another term for it in the industry is a flex serve. All of your customers are staying with their car at this end. Yes. But this driver certification then becomes important at the finish end for those vehicles that are being getting interior cleaning.
Anytime we're moving a car, we have to be sure that they know what they're doing. That training comes in, and that's important. It really helps in operating your car wash and cutting down on injury and accidents.
There's a lot of things here in the car wash that can create unsafe environments for employees, and I just want to go through a few of them. And I know that you've staged a couple things we'd like to show the folks, but certainly one of them, as we look, is an emergency stop. Can you explain that real quick?
Emergency stop, what it's designed to do is if there's any problem inside the tunnel, You can come right over to the red button, hit the button immediately. That stops all the rotation, all the chemical spray, and all the high pressure water or air that's inside the tunnel.
So now, not just at a conveyor car wash, but all car washes.
At all locations. Any type of car wash that's there, that's an OSHA requirement that you must be able to stop the car wash in an immediate fashion.
It's not too much extra money to add additional buttons to even make a facility more safe, is it?
No, not any additional money at all.
Okay, now right behind you then I see a 3/4 inch garden hose. What do you like about that?
The garden hose is coiled up. It's not inside the tunnel, draped down the tunnel. The problem with that could be that it could get trapped inside the conveyor or the rotating equipment.
Okay, now as I kind of peek around, I'm seeing this high pressure hose that I guarantee you staged this for me, didn't
We
you?
staged this a little bit for you. We ran that hose down past all the rotating cloth inside the tunnel. That can create damage to a car, to personnel, and to the equipment itself. So we staged that out for you. That should ideally be coiled up as well, out of harm's way of the equipment.
Okay, now in this area, and it depends on your car wash style. I know that your dad was mentioning to me that you don't have any employees in the building and there's procedures for going in the building and whatnot. But as you get into other car washes, sometimes the loading area is actually in the building.
Of course.
So they're working. But a duty station is here usually there's a guide-on person for an exterior car wash. Now, what are some of the things that are basic but you don't do in the front of this place? What are you worried about here?
A couple things that you're not going to do while you're inside the loading area is you're definitely never going to stand inside the conveyor while the conveyor is running or even while it's off. Just a good practice to step over the conveyor at all times. You certainly don't want to do any running while you're inside the tunnel due to the slip and fall hazards that you have along with the trip hazards.
Rotating equipment, high pressure water, high pressure air.
Inside the tunnel, then at that point you have chemistry, you have air, you have water, and you do have the rotating machinery along with the conveyor that you definitely don't want to get trapped inside of that.
So with Carnets, you've defined when somebody can go in the tunnel or not. Would that be something you recommend to any car washes?
It would definitely be something I'd recommend to all car washes is when the tunnel is running, there should really be no personnel inside the tunnel, whether it be for just a quick cleaning or to check a piece of equipment unless you're a trained personnel on that piece of equipment.
Okay, now one thing on the e-stop before we leave it, because I just love e-stops, is if I push that e-stop or pull that e-stop to activate it, am I the only one that can reactivate the car wash, or do you allow somebody else? Meaning, I saw the hazard, am I the one that has to clear the hazard?
We actually have a lockout tagout procedure for any of the equipment in the back room. We have a binder and we do training on it annually on what we do when we're trying to do work in the tunnel. We have a lockout, we have a tag that we put onto the piece of equipment, just like they do in GE or Bell.
So you take it to the full measure.
Full extent there.
Okay.
If I was to be working on a piece of equipment, not only am I just going to hit the e-stop, I may go to the next extreme and de-energize it at a secondary source just in case I happen to be away from the button that was actuated.
Okay. Now I know there's also requirements for fire extinguishers and things like that.
Yes, sir.
I'm sure you have them here. What are some of the things you're concerned with when it comes to fire extinguishers?
Fire extinguishers, you need to make sure that they are within date, that they're ready to be used. You want them in obvious places where a fire could possibly occur. So we put one in every building that we have on the facility, along with there's extras at the cashier station.
Easily accessible.
Easily accessible for a person that we know where there's going to be a normally staged person to where they can come and assist if necessary.
Okay, last thing here I want to talk about is any type of specific uniform requirements like shoes, hearing protection. What are some of the things you're worried about here?
We're not required. We're not worried about the hearing protection at this point. We've tested our tunnels. We're below the industry or OSHA levels required for air protection. But we do, however, the main concern in this area is shoes. The proper shoes to wear are gym shoes, laced up, not sandals, not flip-flops. You want to have full covered
shoe that's laced and laced tightly. So you don't have somebody wearing, the kids wear their shoes unlaced on purpose. It's not allowed, or sag their pants and the pants are hanging down.
That's part of our associate handbook under dress codes. That's one of our requirements. We don't allow them to wear dangly chains or dangly jewelry as well.
It's another safety hazard.
Okay. Where shall we go next, gentlemen? Lead on.
can't do that.